Welcome to the Goth and the Sloth. I am your Sloth, Matt.
And I'm Luna the Goth.
This is the podcast of two friends living a country apart, living our best lives, and getting into whatever we get into. We decided we'd take the first hunk of our podcast and talk about the COVID-19 pandemic, how it affects you, how it affects us, how it is slowly destroying my will to live.
You said hunk. That's great. The first hunk of our podcast. It's my new favorite. If we have a t-shirt, that's what's going to be.
just a ripped Chad. Like that's the first hunk of our podcast.
No, not Chad. That doesn't seem to embody us. Maybe a Peter Steele type.
All right. But I do need to ask, because it's come up a lot in the internet these days, is this a podcast or is it a cake? We have to
You
check.
know, I am a little nervous about checking, but I was very irresponsibly chopping a lemon the other day, and that the I missed the lemon, and the knife hit me, and it did not look like cake.
Okay.
I think I may not be cake,
You're not
but you
cake.
might be cake.
I could be. I don't know. I was asleep during all my surgeries, so they could just not tell me I'm cake.
You're just changing out the filling. Very awesome. Well, happy birthday to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
You will have a birthday before these people hear this.
Yeah, just before.
Yeah,
'Cause
so when you get this, wish Matt a happy belated birthday.
there you go.
I can sing you the Black People Happy Birthday song. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya.
Makes me feel like I should sing the Bennigan song to you. Happy birthday from all of us at Bennigan's.
That is the white version of that song. Yep, you nailed it, buddy.
I am a true white person.
It's true. It's true. That's just the way it be.
So let's dive into this. What is going on in the greater Virginia area?
So we have 74,431 cases.
Oof.
It's up about 5.5K from last week. So that's like, I think last week we had a 5,000 increase. This is just above that. So, uh,
Ouch.
yeah, it's not great. But it's also, yeah. So, and then we have 7,020 hospitalizations, which is up a little less than 400, which is less than last week.
Okay.
Um, and then we have 2,007 deaths, which is up about 50. So those two numbers are a lot lower. The rate of increase is a
Mm-hmm.
lot lower. Um, but the cases are up. So it's like, is this just another one of those wait for it situations? Or are we just treating people better? Or are we getting a lot of asymptomatic cases? I'm just not sure.
Yeah. Not yet to be seen.
Yeah, so that's what's happening in Virginia. I think not much has changed since last week. There's still a lot of like, oh no, look at the south of us. It's concerning down there. Um, and, people are kind of focused on is um, the emergency unemployment going to end at the end of July or won't it? If so, a lot of people are going to need to figure something out.
Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of where we've been at, just kind of holding steady and watching the numbers religiously.
Yeah.
Out in like boots on the ground though, like I've been teaching for another week now, and there's this I, I would say for the most part the people that I have encountered have been ready and willing to follow guidelines. There are a few people that like we have a requirement to have masks and we have places where people can stand. Um, you know, on their way in the door, they get their temperature taken, blah 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 blah. They go out to the to wash their hands and then they go into the waiting room where they have to sit like all apart in different corners of the room. And um, for the most part, everybody does it without question, which could be just be that they want to take a class and they want to be kicked out.
Yeah.
Um, but then there's also like the random person that like just barges in with a mask on and then they just take their mask off to talk to you and you're like, no, no, no,
That's
no,
the point. You don't want to be close to
no.
me putting your breath in my face without a mask.
Yeah, it happened to our rock star front desk person, and she awesomely was like handled the situation like a pro, and then like sprayed the air with disinfectant. Like, leave, take your bad germs with you. So, so I mean, yeah, in general, that's just kind of been the feel here. But that said, I did just pick up some tacos and like I order it for pickup and there were like four girls on the patio like within 2 feet of each other yapping away and I'm just without a mask and I'm just like, okay, that's a good personal choice, I guess. So I don't know. That's what it is here. What about you? What about what's going on in Colorado?
So we are at 38,726 cases, which is up 2,000 from the previous week. So still way up there week to week on cases. But we're at 5,966 hospitalizations, which is only up 102 from last week.
Oh
So
wow.
that's a good number. And 1,615 deaths, which is only up 29 week to week, which is our lowest week to week death rate that we've seen in a while. So
Yeah.
same with you guys, as its cases are rising, hospitalizations and deaths haven't concurrently rose with it.
Right. Yeah. So I guess everybody in our two states are just like looking over their shoulder to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. As for policy changes, the governor implemented a statewide mask policy today, so everyone has to wear a mask if you are in public.
I saw that. All of my Colorado pages and email situations all sent me an email to let me know. And I was like, I don't live there anymore, but cool.
So, it's good. We are worried about the economic impact because our thing runs out July 31st as well for unemployment. But the governor also put was it 2 weeks? You have to give people like 2 weeks or a month before eviction now.
Mm,
And he's
hmm.
imploring people to like work with your tenants. But, I mean, that's nothing.
Those are just
Yeah.
words. I mean, if you have a nice employer, or I'm sorry, a nice landlord, then you have a nice landlord and you've known that from the start. If you don't have a nice landlord, they're not going to magically become nice because Polis was like, be nice to your tenants. Like,
Exactly.
it's not a thing.
So I don't know. Hopefully we can work that out. I don't know, but yeah, I am seeing the same thing you are with just a lot more masks. The grocery store this week was actually 100% masks. I didn't see one person without one,
That's
so
cool.
that was good. But I did run into my first I don't want to wear a mask person at the liquor store today. Actually,
Oh,
um,
really?
it's a local store, a really cool dude that runs it. It's right down the street from me, so he definitely knows who I am. And he wasn't like super strict, and they're like, oh, we don't have to wear a mask. He's like, well, you should. They're not enforcing it yet, but it's gonna happen like any minute now. And she's like, I don't see the point in doing it. But if you don't make me, I'll shop here. I'll be fine. Like, so it wasn't like one of the worst in the world, but
Yeah, but
still
that's
just
still
like,
putting someone in a lot, like in a awful position. That's what I kept on thinking about when I saw those ladies today, on the patio, and I was just like, I felt really bad for the people that had to work there. Like, because you're watching people that clearly don't give a crap about the virus
yep,
for them. So they certainly don't care about you. And all the employees are like all,
yep,
all suited up. And it's a taco joint. And they look like nurses.
Yeah.
And like these people are like, it kind of gets under my skin watching it.
Oh yeah, there's some amazing photos, amazing in multiple ways, but of people like dining out and then like just sitting back on their phone with their flippy floppies, and their servers got full mask, full face guard, trying to serve them with, and it looks horrible.
Yeah. It looks exactly it looks like it looks like exactly what it is,
Yeah.
which is people not giving a crap about the human that serves them.
Yep.
Like, ugh, so disgusting.
And in
But in larger,
oh
sorry,
god,
go ahead.
there you go.
Oh, I was gonna just say that in larger news, the only thing I was gonna mention was Walmart. Walmart is now requiring masks at all Walmarts and Sam's Clubs. So let the games begin, I
Yeah,
guess.
let's see all the Karens with their videos thinking that they're dunking on employees by being a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I mean, I almost think that we're gonna see like a new breed, like Bubba Karen, that because I really there were a couple cases, and I actually didn't write this down, but I was just listening to something earlier. There were a couple cases, like two in the whole country, so obviously not like a trend or anything, but um, like where people got violent towards like someone got stabbed in a Walmart
Oh,
for
jeez.
asking them to put a mask on, and it's like, who are the people that work at Walmart versus who are the people that go to Walmart? It's a lot of the same demographic,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like there's just so much chance for like volatile situations to come from this. And so Walmart, apparently they're assigning like something health ambassadors, I think is what they're going to be called, and they're enforcing the mask situation. It's like, I hope those people are big, tall, white dudes.
Yeah.
That's what I hope because yeah. Anyway.
Well, the bouncers got to do something since bars aren't open. Hire some big old
That's
bouncers.
true. Yeah, get some bouncers and throw some people out of Walmart. That would be the best. I would almost pay to watch that footage. Just, oh, you don't want to wear a mask? Foomp.
Just give them the bums rush. Just.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that our friend Florida was in the news yet again. If you saw,
it was
they have the
indeed.
highest day-to-day cases out of any state ever in history. They have the trophy. Go, go Florida.
Go Florida.
Go
I
Gators.
ugh, no. I mean, yes for this, but even then, I don't even want the Gators to win at something like this. Like, I'm not that much of a poor sport. But I like I saw something where it said that if Florida were its own country, it'd be number 4 in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. Take it seriously, please.
Yeah. Close
Oh my
Disney
lord.
World. Stay home. Like, what are you doing? It's crazy.
It is, and yeah. So if you missed it, our last episode was about Florida, exclusively about what the fuck is going on down in Florida. So tune into that if you're wondering why we seem so exacerbated.
Yeah, it was a hard week. So anything
Hmm.
new going on in the world of Luna?
Not really, other than my birthday. My birthday happened, so I'm
Woot
a
woot.
whole 1 year older. Um, whatever that means. I continue to like all the same things. I continue not to really know what I'm doing. So yeah, that sounds like adulthood,
Yeah,
right?
that's just the human condition.
Hooray! But yeah, it was a really cool birthday. It was really quiet, which was wonderful. I spent the weekend out in Charlottesville and just slept a lot,
Nice.
ate a lot of food. We got South African, like like a big old South African meal,
Nice.
obviously takeout. Um, so we it was so perfect because it was literally like us like sitting on the bed, curled, like, sitting on our our legs, like looking at all of this amazing food and not knowing where to start, and then just opening everything, and it was just like a feast. And then we ended up having to like throw the sheet out because not throw it out, but wash it.
Yeah.
But we were just like, nom nom, delicious food. And we're like, oh, maybe we should have been like a little bit. All right, let's change the sheets. but, um, but yeah, and then just watched a bunch of movies, and it was delightful in all the ways.
Sounds like a
I
great
couldn't,
weekend.
yeah, I couldn't do our usual, beer run, or not beer run, bar run,
Yeah.
bar hopping and dinner and meeting up with friends for a movie night or anything like that. So this is the low key version of our birthdays, and maybe one year when we don't have a pandemic. I would say next year, but god damn it, Florida.
Right.
Um, we will have to do some sort of joint. We'll have to meet in a city or do it here in. I almost said here in Virginia. Where am I? I don't know. But in one of our states and do our usual bar brewery hop.
Yeah. Because yeah, if you didn't
Yeah.
do the math in your head, our birthdays are exactly 7 days apart from each other.
It's true. Yes. So we typically celebrate for one entire week. That really kind of turns into a month.
Yeah.
What about you? What's going on in Matt world?
Well, I'm on vacation. I'm second day of my staycation.
Woohoo!
It just feels like nothing because I'm not going anywhere or doing anything. But
But you're not logging into work,
I'm not
so there's
logging
that.
into work, and I'm sleeping in and doing all the fun stuff.
That's awesome. Is Spumoni letting you sleep in?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
she has an auto feeder, so that takes care of that.
that's true. I don't even think, like, even if Nisha had food, she'd still be like, I'm bored. Get up.
There's a certain level where if I'm kind of up and moving around, she wants me out of bed. She'll start chewing on boxes really loud. And that's just like, I know you're awake, so just get up.
Oh, good kitty.
And that's pretty much about it. Company hasn't said anything new about coming in or doing anything. And yeah, that's kind of interesting thing is we got an email the band did about playing a pretty big venue because they were going to open up on July 31st and they wanted to start booking their August shows. And by the time I responded, he had to be like, "Well, actually, we're not opening now."
Oh, really? I'm so shocked.
Yeah, no, I definitely responded the first time with like, "Yeah, whenever you're ready to book, I know things are day to day right now," kind of like hinting at like, "I don't think you're actually gonna open up, but if you want to try, we'll support that, I guess. I don't know."
Man.
As long as you don't try and make us sell tickets to a show, because I'm not forcing anyone to leave their house.
Yeah, I feel like I feel for them if he's like, down your neck ready to book you.
Yeah.
They're probably really trying to stay afloat. But
Yeah, because if you're not serving food at all, you can't open up. So all the bars that are just bars are really struggling. And then if your big pole is your big stage, it's not gonna do a lot. So yeah, I feel bad, but it was kind of like a funny like, are you sure you're opening?
I don't think you mean that.
But you gotta play the game. So you gotta be like, oh yeah, totally, we're down to do the thing.
Don't tell everyone how to play the game, Matt. God. Don't listen to him.
No,
He said nothing.
no. If someone
It's
asks
all
you
live music magic.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah, no, if someone asks you to play a big show, just tell them to fuck off. That's what you're supposed to do. Just like, no.
Oh my god, please don't listen to Matt. Oh, that time really don't listen to Matt. Oh, Lord.
So, do you want to jump into our subject of the day?
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to take a look at how other countries around the world are responding to the coronavirus pandemic.
Yes.
So, lately, in my opinion anyway, it has felt somewhat terrifying to be like locked within the US borders almost literally
Yeah.
since we're not allowed to go to any other
Yep.
countries. It's like, no, you stay home. We're gonna go hang out, but you don't get summer, United States. Like, okay. Um, but yeah, so and then also like for me with all the chaos that's been going on, I haven't really been thinking about anything international.
Hmm.
And I typically do, like on a in the regular world, I'm typically staying up to date on international news and lately I like with all the civil unrest and everything, I haven't really spent a lot of time. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kind of wipe the condensation off the window and stare out to see what's going on out there. So I'm going to cover a few countries in East Asia, and Matt is going to cover a few countries in Europe. And I would encourage you to look at this as like a launching point for more research because obviously we're not going to have a ton of time in this episode to like dive into all of the details of all of these countries.
Yeah,
But if there's something super interesting, you can feel free to look it up, or even better, you can ask us to cover it,
that's true.
and we
Yeah,
will.
absolutely.
So do that.
Do it.
All right, so I'll go ahead and start. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I'm going to start with China, and looking at China, I just want to reiterate that COVID-19 is not the Chinese virus. That is not what we're calling it. It is not what it is. And if you're not sure why that's the case, Google it.
Yeah.
It's right there. Okay, so China, as of today, as of this recording, has 83,612 confirmed cases, which is about 0.6% of worldwide cases. And they have 4,634 deaths, which is about 0.79 of worldwide deaths. So their death rate is 5.54%. Um, if you were just like, oh my God, those are numbers, that's exactly what those were. They were indeed numbers. I mean, if it's for the people who that's helpful to them. Um, According to the National Health Commission via U.S. News, uh, China just reported having only one new confirmed case and two asymptomatic cases in the last 24 hours. And so that would appear to be very good
Yeah,
news.
that's awesome.
I, yeah, totally. I think it's cool that they track both symptomatic and asymptomatic. I don't think that the US is quite there yet, but that'd be cool one day.
One day.
Um, additionally, according to the BBC, the Chinese economy is bouncing back, they say. The year to year percentage change of GDP had fallen into negative numbers, but has bounced back just above the negative. Um, and that bounce is like a little higher than experts predicted. So this could point to a V in China's economy rather than a U.
Okay.
And just a quick review, a V is a quick fall followed by a quick rise. So it literally looks like a V in a line graph over time, and a slow recovery is much more costly and it would look like a U on a line graph. So just in case you haven't looked at too many line graphs,
I'm
here's
always
a little
looking at
reminder.
graphs.
Yeah, well, I know you're fine. Um, so yeah, I will say that the idea of China's economy recovering quickly is a bit premature
Hmm.
by many expert standards. It appears that the Chinese stimulus measures have been helping the industrial production sector, but not necessarily the travel, dining, and leisure sectors of the economy for obvious reasons. Um, and I mean, just simply because consumer spending is extremely low
Yeah.
in those areas, much like it is everywhere else. Um, so I do want to say that I would want to take all of this with a grain of salt for two reasons. The first reason is because China was accused of doctoring their coronavirus reports in March,
Hmm.
but since then they fired back saying that it was an attempt for American agencies to shift the blame to China. So at this point, I have no idea
Yeah.
who to believe. It's like I I don't know. Um, but you can read more about the whole situation in the Times article. China denies hiding coronavirus.
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't even give you an educated guess at this point. Um, and the second reason I would take this with a grain of salt is because China has a lot more control over its citizens than many other countries, just
Hmm.
based on it being a communist
Yeah.
country. Um, and that control is especially exercised in the industrial production sector. So this would probably be a good time to remind everyone that I think it was in 2010, um, and it's from what I can see has only gotten worse at this point. But in 2010, the Foxconn factory in Shenzhen, China, became um, in the national news because they added suicide nets. Those nets are still there. I'm sure they're not the only factory that have suicide nets. And it's I just I'm just gonna say it again. They have suicide nets. Like
Yeah.
nets to catch people when they attempt suicide. So yeah. Their industrial sector is doing great. Take that with a grain of salt,
Right. Yeah.
alright? Okay. On that note, on to Japan. So in Japan, there are 22,890 cases, which is 0.16% of worldwide cases, and they have 985 deaths, which is also 0.16 of worldwide deaths. I don't really know what that means um, in the wider world because my brain just like shorted out. You have to remember we've been in quarantine this whole time, and I feel like some of my processing power has slipped away.
Well, look at it this way. How many deaths were there again?
985,
Only 900, like less than 1,000.
less than 1,000.
Wow. So today, when I looked up for part of my research, is we're somewhere around 138,000 in America alone.
138,000. Goddamn.
So that's one way to look at it compared to us.
Good
And
God.
honestly, both of our states alone have more than 1,000 deaths, and that's an
It's
entire
true.
country.
It's true. Ugh. Anyway, their death rate is 4.3, so lower than China. So their numbers have been relatively low throughout the pandemic, despite the dense population on its islands. I mean, most people, when you picture Tokyo, you kind of picture like masses of people in those giant
Yep.
crosswalks you can fit a house in. Um, so yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that. However, CBS News just reported today that 136 cases have been reported on U.S. bases in Okinawa. Prior to these cases, there were only 148 confirmed cases in the city, so almost doubling their cases. Good
Yeah, I
job.
saw that article. Yeah, the U.S. came in with our base and like, hey, you want a coronavirus?
Here, have some. So the defense minister, Taro Kono, I don't know if that's how you say his name. Kono? I don't know. Uh, Please let me know. I'd love to. So he has pointed to quote unquote several problems with the US response to the pandemic. To me, it sounds like there is some tension building between Japan and the presence of the US military right now when it comes to the virus, which may cause problems down the road.
Absolutely.
Hopefully
Yeah.
not. The governor of Okinawa is quoted as saying, Okinawa residents are extremely anxious. And the defense minister replied, we're extremely concerned. And he also said, quote, "We'll deal with it." Um, so all of that was Wednesday. So sorry, that was all yesterday, Wednesday. So today, Thursday, Japan reported more than 600 new cases, which is the highest single day report in 3 months. Um, they don't want to do another state of emergency lockdown, just like everybody, especially since many people in Tokyo commute to work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's likely that a second lockdown would be optional, like the first one was. Um, and in an article in the Kyoto News, two commuting Tokyoites is apparently what they're called. Who knew? That is adorable, just like everything else in Japan. Um, so the commuting Tokyoites mentioned that they don't plan to return to working entirely from home
Okay.
if there's another state of emergency, because they just have so much work to complete.
Mm-hmm. It's very
Very indicative
Japanese.
of their
Yeah.
culture. Yeah. Um, so I can't pass judgment on any of this really, but it's just interesting to watch the response. It's frustrating for me personally to see that their numbers are going up, um, in large. I would say a significant portion of those numbers are U.S. service members.
Yeah.
Annoying. Okay. So then finally, South Korea. Uh, it's clear that they've been living up to a reputation of kind of being the bomb at dealing with the virus. So they have 13,612 cases, which is 0.09% of worldwide cases, and 291 deaths,
Whoa.
which is 0.049% of worldwide deaths. Their death rate is 2.13%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go South Korea.
Y'all, you taking refugees?
No, we're not allowed to go
Okay.
anywhere. We just
Oh,
covered
god
that.
damn it. All right. Well, actually, yeah, let me read this next part and I'll take that all back. Much like in Japan, US bases are reporting more COVID cases in South Korea. Here we
Yep.
go.
America's
King of
ruining
the
it for everything.
world. Right? According to Stars and Stripes, which is an independent news organization in the US military, service members have been arriving with the virus, but they have been required to test and quarantine, so hopefully that will be sufficient to contain the spread.
I feel like
Correct.
America is like, like when in high school you'd have like a party with booze and everybody just be chill and hanging out and just drinking, and then you got that one guy that shows up and he drinks too much and he causes a problem. America is that guy
Yeah,
right now. We just
it
show up at
really
everyone
is.
else's parties and cause problems.
God, no one invited this guy. Yeah. Um, However, it has not been all like roses and peace and happiness in South Korea. According to the New York Times, hundreds of quarantined foreigners are being held in a Ramada, um, and seven other facilities in the country. Local residents in the neighborhood of the Ramada are accusing the government of recklessly exposing them to infection. So protesters have committed themselves to making as much noise as possible outside of the hotel to drive the quarantined foreigners away. So, like, I looked it up and they're just like hanging out with gongs and just making tons of noise constantly throughout the day. And people, like residents, are like, they asked to be moved to rooms in the back of the hotel, like away from the street. And they're like, no, we don't have room. Like, so, some residents have turned to white noise apps and noise canceling headphones, but being in the hotel room for 2 weeks with almost constant noise takes its
Oh
toll.
yeah.
So, yeah, there's just nowhere for these folks to go. The Ramada does only have a 3-month contract with the government, so hopefully the next facility will be further away from any South Korean residents.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, all right. That's what I have. I would have loved to look into more. I wanted to look into the Philippines and more East Asian countries, but and Taiwan, but
Yeah, we may need to do a
I
part
have not.
two of this because I also hit a whole lot of info, and it's like gotta distill it.
Yeah, maybe we will. All right. Give us the situation in Europe.
All right, so let's start with our good friends England, or the UK as a whole. So, just for comparison, just numbers I pulled. So, the first US case recorded of COVID was on January 19th. And we currently are
Mhm.
at 3.53 million cases, which is 1% of our entire population.
That's fine. Everything's fine here.
And we're at 1,300, or sorry, 138,000 deaths. So, in comparison, the first case in the UK was on January 31st, just a few days after ours.
Hmm.
Their population is 66.6 million, which is pretty metal of them.
It is.
But they got 293,000 cases, which is 0.4% of their entire population. And they're
Mm,
at 45,119 deaths.
45,000.
45,000.
Wow.
So, interestingly enough, there was the World Health Organization made a new Global Health Security Index on October of 2019, ranking every country on how well they could handle a pandemic if a pandemic happened. The
Interesting.
US was ranked number one, and UK was ranked number two.
Oh no.
So according to,
Yeah, whoever that was at the WHO,
well, they
he's probably like pushing papers right now.
well, according to this Times.com article, they failed to include the political climate which both these countries are in at the moment.
Oh, you mean run by nut jobs?
Yes,
I'm sorry,
exactly.
did I say that out loud? Yes, I did, on a recording forever.
So there's been a lot of comparisons to the U.S. with England. We've essentially both
Makes
fumbled it
sense.
massively. But
Yep.
some interesting stuff is England went hard initially on doing herd immunization.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
right.
by the time they
Okay.
turned to go the other way, it was too late. Um,
Oh, Lord.
and of course, famously, their prime minister also caught the virus. Supposedly, I have theories.
Oh, okay.
He is a master manipulator, and I could see him doing it as like, "Oh, poor me! Look at me! I'm with you! I'm with you all the way! I totally
I
got it."
I I could also see that, yes. He's so similar to Trump and also so different.
Yeah, it's a different kind of
Two,
horrible.
yeah, two beasts. Ugh. Anyway.
So also interesting enough, they ran a simulation in 2016 about how they could cover a pandemic, specifically a flu pandemic, and they found they had mass shortages of ventilators and personal protective equipment for health workers.
Oh, weird.
When they asked, or when they decided to see what they could do, they put this project on hold for 2 years to deal with a possible no-deal Brexit.
Oh no,
So,
Brexit comes
yeah.
again.
So instead of
Oh
going,
my
so they
God.
knew there was an issue. Instead of like, all right, well let's make sure we're planned for this. They're like, well, let's see how Brexit pans out first, and then we'll get back to this. And
Yeah. Ain't no virus gonna wait for you. Virus is gonna be like, oh, you looking over there? It's like my cat. If I look in the opposite direction, there's a little paw that's reaching for my cookie.
on May 3rd, a survey of 16,000 doctors found 48% have bought or obtained pieces of PPE outside of official channels because they're unable to get their own protective devices.
That sounds a lot like the US.
And
It's a governors making deals with foreign countries to get masks because our government.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, you keep
Yeah.
going.
And they're also having many issues like we are of their people of color being struck more with the virus, and also their poorer, I don't know, you call them states, countries like Wales have been hit much harder
Mm,
because they can't
it's a
really
country.
afford it, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And another interesting thing is Health Secretary Matt Hancock asserted on Friday that it had met the headline-grabbing aim of conducting 100,000 daily COVID-19 tests by the end of April. The figure was 122,347. He said, although officials concealed that 40,000 of those were sent to people's homes or satellite testing centers and had not necessarily been processed.
Oh
So they're like, we'll
no.
totally get up to 1,000 daily tests and everything will be cool. And they're like, yeah, we did it. And they're like, but you didn't. No, we did it. We
But
did
you.
it.
Oh no. All right. Okay.
So yeah, I think it was late March that they decided to lock up for the first time. But like I said
Hmm.
before, even though that seems like it's not that late of a response to do the lockdown, because they went so hard of just basically ignoring it up until that
Mm,
point, it was already too late, and they got behind on testing. They got behind on hospitals. They have a socialized elderly care,
mm,
and
mm-hmm,
many of those have had mass outbreaks,
mm.
and
Shocking.
and they have nowhere else to go. Like that's where they live, and they don't have anything to
Hmm.
do there. There's one that had 2 masks for 5 people, 5 workers.
Oh
So
God.
just totally unable to deal with the entire situation and fumbling it horribly.
Wow, that sounds so familiar. How odd. Except they knew that they were intentionally going for herd
Yeah,
immunity, and our dodo was just like, "Oh, it's not here. We've solved the
yeah,
problem. We're fine. We've beat the
yep.
coronavirus." And now we have 138,000 people
Yeah,
dead.
this Times article, I believe, was named something along the lines of how the U.S. and UK totally failed at coronavirus response.
Hmm.
And it was
Yeah.
just
Hmm.
comparing us back and forth, and it just sounded like the same stuff,
Yeah.
same problems.
Such a bummer, man. Like you
So
grow up thinking that like we have these brilliant scientists and doctors and social scientists and we can handle anything that comes our way. And then this happens and you're just like, "Oh, okay." Like those people are still out there. They're just being hamstringed.
oh yeah, which
There's nothing we can do about it.
yeah, which
It sucks.
which brings me to a country that handled it properly. We're jumping
Oh.
outside of Europe, and we're gonna jump to
Oh,
my.
I thought you were doing okay.
Well, I'm also doing the Aussies.
Oh, right. Totally forgot about that. Sorry for misleading y'all.
Well,
We are doing the
I got
Aussies.
another European country if we got time after this as well. Um,
Sure, sure, sure.
but so Australia, their first case was January 25th. So again, it's pretty much the same week that we saw our first case. They have 10,810 cases total in the
Good for
entire
them.
country. So
That's
their
impressive.
total population's 24.9 million, which gives them 0.004% of their population got coronavirus.
Dang, they're on, let's see. That's pretty close to South Korea. No, even South Korea had 0.09%. Oh no, that's 0.09% of worldwide cases. Never mind.
Yeah,
Different.
I did the math slightly different than you. That's all right.
Yeah, it's cool.
And they're only at 113 deaths for the entire country.
What?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
Good job,
yeah.
Australia. You can improve in a lot of other ways, but good job with this.
So they connected the success to forming a cabinet in mid-March, which brought leaders of all the territories and states, along with the federal government, to figure out the situation. And the states and territories had primary responsibility for public hospitals, health, and emergency management, including putting down the lockdowns and spatial distance restrictions. The Commonwealth, or the federal, had primary responsibility for the income of business and support programs, and coordination of these responsibilities was crucial. So essentially, it kind of broke out like we kind of did in the U.S., but they did it good.
Oh, it's like they can handle an emergency. Well, that's good to know. Do you have an update for where things are right now?
Well, they're slowly opening up. One of the most important things that does tie to the one thing they did completely different than us as well is all their updates for any coronavirus related things come from scientists.
What are those? Ugh.
So yeah, the prime minister has mostly talked about the business and the economy, and left any of the science and restriction announcements up to their national healthcare.
Oh my gosh, I'm like slowly getting angry. Not at Australia. Australia's doing great, but just as of today, wasn't it the press secretary was like, "We're not going to let science get in the way of opening schools." Like literally, that's what she said. So I just,
Yeah, it was essentially them
hey,
just passing off like scientists tell us what to do and we'll do it. And it seemed
that's
to pan out
great.
really well for them.
That's oh my gosh, that's uh,
And one thing
uh,
I also think
uh.
that helped is Australia's healthcare system is divided into public and private sectors. The public funded universal healthcare insurance scheme is called Medicare and provides partial or full coverage to most primary healthcare services to all Australians free of cost. While several companies offer private healthcare insurance funded by a combination of government and private entities that will allow it to expand for coverage and border choice. So there's
Yeah, that similar. Isn't that how it is in England as well?
I think so. I didn't really see
I think
that,
it's
but
pretty similar, but I'm sure there are some nuanced differences that I don't know about from as an
yeah.
outsider. But
So
yeah.
it let them, shift more stuff faster because all the hospitals all work the same, all work under the same system, so they can
Mm,
provide the same health care, and just worked out. And
interesting.
one last, we'll jump back to Europe and talk about one more awesome recovery. Is our good friends in Germany.
Germany.
So their first case was January 27th. They have 201,000 cases total. And for a country of 83 million, that is 0.2% of their entire population.
Yeah, good for
And
them.
only 9,144 deaths. So they did get hit hard, but
Yeah.
overall, compared to us and compared to England, doing well better.
Yeah, like they look it sounds like they're closer to um the kind of East Asian
Yeah.
percentages and numbers.
So according to Our World in Data, which that's already a website I should love. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Germany has shown several elements of success across 4 phases of preparedness and response framework: prevent, detect, contain, and treat. The country's incredibly strong enabling environment, including good local public health care system and expert scientific institutions, has largely contributed to this broad-based progress.
Yep.
So,
Sounds like they have scientists in charge as well.
exactly. Well, they actually developed the first test for COVID. It was in Germany.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so they that hospital and other scientists institutions mobilized in early January to launch a national crisis management to understand the epidemic and pandemic.
Wow.
So they were on top of it well before anybody else. Even though they still got hit, they are like, hey, let's look into this before it gets real bad.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder, yeah, because I know that like everybody is seeing like a little, whether it's a tiny or moderate second wave. I wonder how they're dealing with that because I know that Melbourne in in Australia has, I mean, they're under lockdown again. They went back under
Yeah,
lockdown, so it's like, but it sounds like like when I hear that they did that, now I know that it's like scientists were like, we got to do this to nip this thing in the bud because these
yeah,
people keep on breathing all over each other, and so like I feel like, oh, okay, well, that's gonna solve it. Like they're gonna be able to actually have barbecues again one day. Um,
yeah.
Whereas us, mm,
We keep just wanting to open back up, and like I get it, like for some people that want to work and stuff, but until there's a vaccine, which is highly unlikely, unfortunately, at this moment, the best way to get rid of this is not herd immunity, but just to let the virus just die out. If it can't spread to other people, it just dies.
true, but I think that it's so widespread that I don't think it'll just die out. I think at this point it is bound to continue to, you know, spread. I think we just need to, I don't necessarily think we have to go into lockdown as a country. I think certain different states should probably go into lockdown, um, or like places with an infection rate above a certain percentage need to go into lockdown or something like that. Um, that's just what I've been thinking about lately. And like with the school situation, like I get it. Like we kind of need schools to open for on many different levels, but if you like, just like you were saying with Australia, when you know they've kind of been open for a while now before Melbourne just
Yeah,
re lockdown. So like, not it like if it's going all right in your area, you should be able to let people go to work and their kids go to school as long as everything happens under scientific guidelines and people are socially distanced. They have enough PPE. Kids are prioritized in a certain way where kids that can learn, a certain distance learning a couple days a week or whatever it is, like actually tailor, like center the human experience and their safety and then go from there. But unfortunately, in our country, that's just not going to happen. I mean, I
yeah.
certainly don't believe it will. I mean, maybe that's me being a negative Nancy, but I just,
No, you're
I don't see it happening.
yeah, and you're right. Like each state, and that's why it should be left up to the states, has different situations. Montana's doing pretty good because 7 people live in Montana,
Oh,
and I think
no. There's at least 17.
so. They're not having issues in Montana because you can socially distance in Montana because it's massive.
It is very big and beautiful. Yeah, I mean, and
So
maybe, like the counties of Montana are probably just doing just
yeah,
fine. Cities maybe a little less fine. Whatever it is. I mean, I was just listening to something about Sioux Falls, which I would have assumed would have been fine, but they're not fine because they have the Smithfield factory and everybody works shoulder to shoulder, so like the entire town is sick. But yeah, I just think that I guess my pie in the sky wish after hearing all of this, reading all of this, is that we as a country, at least for America and worldwide, would just center people's lives and health in our decisions and not the money and special favors and special interests to political parties. It's just like this Betsy DeVos woman is just continually driving me mad.
just the worst.
Just the worst. And it's like she's just like all of this is to benefit her, you know, her family, her husband who has a charter school. It's just anyway.
Yeah. I mean, my hope is also that we don't feel like we're too good to learn from what other countries have done right. because that tends to be America's thing too, to go, no, no, we do it our way, we're American.
I've
When,
never, not once ever, have felt that way. And I wonder if it's like partially because I have some sort of immigrant experience or something, but I have never, ever thought I can't learn from another country's experience. Like that
yeah,
thought has never crossed my mind. It sounds so foreign when you say it, but you're right. I've heard
yeah,
people say those things, and I'm like, what? Why? Like, why do you think you're immune to like facts and science? That doesn't
yeah.
make sense. But
And it's like, yeah, it can work for us if it works for them. Yeah, we might have to edit some things and change some things to fit it, but if someone already proved he can do something one way, why reinvent the wheel? Just go, hey, let's take what they did and make it work for us.
hmm.
And that's on many other topics too, not
Oh, for
just
sure.
COVID prevention and all that, but a lot of things. And yeah, America just wants to do it ourselves. No, Ma, we can do it. Don't
We
help.
can do it, but just like stop killing everyone while you fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I don't know. I think that there's hope for the US um in comparison to these countries. I think that it's possible for us to pivot and get out of this thing. I just don't have a lot of it right now.
Sure.
Have a lot of hope. But if any of you have some hope that you can spread, I'd love to have some because right now I'm just looking at everything like, oh, it's nice that those countries have it figured out. Our Cheeto is going to sit here and continually just dig up graves while, yeah, anyway,
Yeah. No, that's a thing.
it is a
Well,
thing.
that will lead us into our next section of the podcast. Let's distract ourselves.
From all of the terror and horror.
So, what have you been distracting yourself with this week?
So I've kind of taken a turn, and I've been researching like plants and stuff because I want to, like, I've always wanted to grow things. My dad has an amazing green thumb. We've always had living animals and plants, fruit trees, vegetables, all sorts of things growing up. And I've always wanted to at least start like having a little garden. And I've always lived in an apartment where it's like not really possible, or like I just don't have a way to have like my own little Luna garden. And so I'm finally gonna start it because fuck it. So nothing big, and I know I'm gonna make 1,000 mistakes because every time I research everything, people are saying like slightly different things, and I have no
Mm-hmm.
idea. So I'm just gonna kind of dive in, and I'm sure I will probably murder my plants at first, and I will be very sad, but I hope I learn from it. Um, but yeah, so I'm planning on doing like maybe like right now this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of doing like 3 pots, like larger pots, and I'll have like cucumbers and romaine lettuce in one, succulents in another, because obviously, and basil and marigolds in the other, and maybe like one other herb. So, and then I can make my little things. Eventually, I'd love to grow some tomatoes, but I live in a very strange place, so I just have to kind of figure it out as far as
Yeah.
where, because I'd like to do the hangy, drippy tomatoes.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. So yeah, that's what
Very
I've
nice. Very
been
cool.
doing in my time when I'm not staring at awful, awful headlines that we
Yeah.
didn't even talk about. What about you? What are you distracting yourself with?
Um. Well, the band just finished filming another music video, so I'll be
Ooh,
editing that soon.
fun.
So that's that. I have been kind of quasi distracting myself with trying to figure out what to do on a staycation where you can't actually go anywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
But, you know, it is what it is. You do
yeah.
got to get away from work at some point,
You
though.
really
So,
do, and I'm glad you did. I honestly like if I could staycation, which isn't really a thing right now because I work 45 jobs to make my life happen. Um, but if I were to do it, I would just like max out on like the way I would approach it is like take two things per day ish that
Hmm.
I would like really like love to. Like I would love to just lay on my couch and read, but I never have time to do that. So if I had a staycation, I would set aside some time for that. Obviously bookended by naps. And then, either cooking or eating my fave my fave foods, that sort of thing. So hopefully you can find some time to do the things that you don't typically have time to do because you are either too tired or you've been staring at a screen for too long,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Well, hopefully, gonna be diving into some more comic books, and that'll be fun.
Shocked. Shocked, I say. You and your comic books. That's great though. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah.
So, let's go into everyone's favorite portion of the show. Only in a pandemic.
And still major civil unrest. Because it never ends.
It
We're still
never
protesting
ends.
here.
Oh yeah, we're still got one going here,
Hmm.
and it's still a thing.
Still a thing.
So, what stories have you found or personal things uh, that you've come across?
So my only in a pandemic story uh, is only in a pandemic and major civil unrest that Disney produces the most horrifying commercial known to man.
I did not see this.
Oh my God, it looks and feels like a horror movie. And then even better, someone went in and edited it and like changed the music to be all minor keys. It's so creepy. It's just like, they did this like We're Open
Oh yeah,
commercial.
I have seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they like all have masks and they're like smiling with their eyes and they're like, "Hi," and they're like waving huge at the camera and it's just like, "We're safe. Come play with us." It's like, "No. No, I don't want to. Don't make me." It's like creepy as hell. Just the regular one. It's like all
yeah,
happy and weird and we have all these safety measures. Here are all the reasons you shouldn't be here. Like
right.
it's kind of like like a drug commercial where it's like, here are all the side effects. like,
Oh yeah,
like here's everything known to man and also death. But like it's a Disney commercial. It's truly just as creepy. It's yeah. If you haven't seen it, look it up and then look up the dystopian looking one where they like dubbed over their voices too, where they were like, "Please don't come here.
yeah.
Please don't come here." And they're like smiling and waving. They're like, "Please don't. Please stay home." It's
Disney.
yeah. Anyway, what about you? What's your only in pandemic
Um,
story?
it's heartwarming and sad at the same time.
Oh, good.
So only in a pandemic does giving away free things become politicized.
Oh Lord, what now?
So there was two guys in Long Beach, California, handing out free masks to anyone that didn't have a mask. And for the most part, went really well and was really nice, and I applaud those guys for doing that. But
Hmm.
of course, they came across people that yelled at them for doing so, and went
What
on mask
now?
tirades.
Yeah,
Just
what is there 5G in the mask now? Like what's their shit now?
haven't you seen the meme? It's a mind control
Oh
device.
my God. I'm so over this so much. I'm
Like, yeah,
losing my mind.
like why are you? Maybe they're wearing their masks wrong, and that's why they hate them or something. Maybe they're trying to swallow them, and that's why they
That
can't
could be
breathe.
it. Yeah, that
Like,
could be
cause
it. Maybe they were like, "Oh, so you're supposed to line your mucous membranes with these." Oh, okay. And then you're like, "Hey, bro, don't do that." You have to say bro, otherwise they don't listen. You say,
right,
"Hey,
yeah,
bro, don't do that. That's not gonna help you breathe." And they're gonna be like, "I can't breathe." Oh my gosh. I just I sent you that thing with the cartoon for Douglas County in
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. How about this? I, as a person all the way over here in Virginia, I sanction your hands for slapping. And if you could just go out in Douglas County, you can put some gloves on, so you don't have to
Oh
touch
yeah.
them. But if you could just slap some people around, that'd be great. And this is
Yeah,
in
they need it.
response to is a political
It's basically a political
cartoon.
cartoon on
Yeah.
their either their official or the mayor's or somebody up there that got in real big trouble for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
had Polis's boot on the back of someone's head, pulling a mask on their face.
Saying I can't breathe. Yeah, it's
Which I mean, yeah.
yeah. Don't
The only reason I
co-opt the
think they
Black
might,
Lives Matter movement for your
right?
bullshit.
Yeah, it never looks good.
No. No. But yes, that is a only in a pandemic
Yeah,
is
can you just give away free things and be nice?
okay. Goddamn. I hope those guys got more love than hate.
I believe so. It's a good video if you check it out, but they do run into some crazies, of course.
Mm. Yep.
So let's go ahead and wind this story or wind this podcast down with our hermit level. So on the Leonardo DiCaprio scale of being a hermit, a 10 being Howard Hughes and marrying a movie star, but then living inside your movie theater, or on a 1, you're the Wolf of Wall Street. No, let's do it. Let's do Jack from
Titanic.
Titanic, and you're just running around the lower decks and dancing with everybody.
Hmm. Yep.
Where are you at on your hermit level?
Well, definitely not a 1, I'll tell you that. No, I'm at about a 6 this week, which is,
Okay.
lower again. I don't like it. I think I need to go back up a little. But yeah, I've been a 6, mostly because it was my birthday, so I kind of drove around and um, I got, I like stopped and got tacos twice this week. Um,
Man, I miss
yeah.
tacos.
Hmm.
I miss tacos
They're good.
because
Um,
the only places I can get them from are just delivery, and by the time they get delivered to you,
oh no,
they're no good.
not good, not good.
Anyways, good.
Yeah, and so yeah, just kind of uh and also teaching a lot more and stuff. I've just kind of been socializing more, which I guess is the way it's supposed to be, but eh. But yeah, solid 6. What about you?
Probably at a 6, maybe a little higher. I did go see my parents this weekend and meet the puppy.
Yay!
And
More
I'll feel it
puppies.
more coming up because it's my weekend birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get a bit more stuff there, but mostly just seeing the band and the puppy.
Yay,
And
band
yeah,
and
so, but,
puppy.
and that was about it besides my excursion to Target for the first time since the lockdown. But that wasn't seeing people. I was actively avoiding people and just, like,
Sliding between the gaps of like
yep.
6 feet. Oh, I'm like, it could be fun to like get a wig and a really wide hat. Just be like, you can't get near me.
So let's go ahead and end this episode. So if people want to hit you up and still say happy belated birthday, where can they do that at?
Oh, heck yeah. You can find me at Luna underscore Minuit. So that's LUNA underscore MINUIT. And that is on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find us. You can wish us a happy birthdays, belated birthdays squared. um, you can find us at Goth and Sloth on Instagram and Twitter, and Goth and Sloth at Gmail. And yeah, what about you, Matt? What are all your things?
I'm wizard underscore Matt on the Twitters, where I'm mostly at, but I also post it sometimes on the Insta. Wizard cosplay. My band is Leonardo Leonardo. You can find us on SoundCloud, Leonardo Band, and my YouTube channel is Matt the Pharaoh Wizard.
Ta-da!
So
Yay!
that'll end another episode of The Goth and the Sloth.
Yeah, guys, continue to wash your hands, please.
And wear your damn mask.
Yes.